The morning sun spills gently through the curtains. Eleanor stands by the window, a cup of tea warming her hands. Her garden waits outside, vibrant and full of life. But lately, her back has been stiff, her steps a little slower. She remembers the days when she could kneel, plant, and rise with ease. Now, even bending to tie her shoes feels like a quiet struggle. It's not pain, but a kind of tightness that whispers of time passing. She sighs, wondering if this is simply what getting older feels like. Then one afternoon, she hears about a gentle exercise. Knee-to-toe bends, the voice on the radio says softly. A movement so simple, yet designed to restore strength and ease. It promises flexibility, comfort, and safety for bodies over 60. Eleanor listens closely, her heart stirring with a spark of hope. Maybe she can move freely again, without fear or strain. She places her cup down and straightens her back slowly. For the first time in months, she feels curious instead of cautious. A small smile forms as she whispers to herself, maybe it's not too late to begin again. And so, her gentle journey towards strength begins. Eleanor wakes early, as she always does. The light is soft, spilling over the wooden floor of her small kitchen. The kettle hums, the same old rhythm that starts her day. She moves slowly, feeling the weight of years in her lower back. Each step carries a quiet reminder that time has changed her body. She still loves her mornings, her garden, her calm. But lately, bending to reach the drawer or lift a pot feels harder. Her back tightens, her knees resist, her breath shortens too soon. It's not painful, just limiting. A small, invisible wall between her and the things she loves. She tells herself it's just age, a natural slowing down. But deep inside, she misses the freedom of easy movement. The way she used to kneel in the garden, feeling the soil in her hands. The way she could turn, twist, rise without a second thought. Now she moves with caution, afraid of that tug in her lower spine. It's strange how fear can creep into everyday things. She used to believe that getting older meant accepting stillness. But lately, she wonders if stillness is really what her body needs. One morning after a restless night, she sits by the radio. The voice on the program is calm and kind. It speaks about movement, strength, and gentle recovery after 60. Eleanor listens, curious, her fingers tracing the rim of her cup. The host speaks of a simple bend, a knee-to-toe motion. Not a hard workout, not a stretch of youth chasing itself. Just a small, mindful way to wake up the spine and legs. The words sound soothing, like a friend reminding her to breathe. She closes her eyes and pictures it. A soft bend forward, knees flexing, toes waiting quietly below. No strain, no rush. Just gravity and breath finding each other again. The host's voice lingers, describing how the movement builds support. How it strengthens the lower back, releases tension, restores flow. She imagines her body moving that way, light, fluid, alive again. Her tea grows cold, but she doesn't mind. Something inside her stirs, like an old memory waking up. She stands and feels the floor beneath her bare feet. It feels solid, familiar, safe. She takes a slow breath and bends just a little. Her knees respond first, her spine follows gently. It's awkward, uncertain, but it feels right somehow. Her back whispers, her legs tremble slightly, but her spirit steadies. She rises again, exhaling a quiet laugh. The motion was small, but the feeling was big. It wasn't about reaching her toes, it was about reaching herself. For the first time in a long while, she feels a spark of control. A sense that maybe her body hasn't given up, it's just waiting. Waiting for her to listen, to move with kindness, not fear. Eleanor stands taller, her breath deep and calm. She looks at the sunlight touching the edge of her garden. And she knows that tomorrow she'll bend again. Not for perfection, but for presence. one gentle motion at a time. She is beginning to trust her body again. The next morning, Eleanor wakes with a quiet determination. The sky outside is soft and gray, the kind that invites reflection. She moves to the living room, where the floor feels cool under her feet. Her cat Milo watches from the couch, tail flicking lazily. She takes a deep breath, remembering the voice from the radio. "Knee to toe bends," she whispers, testing the words on her tongue. They sound simple enough, almost too simple to matter. But something about them feels important, almost sacred. She stands tall, feet shoulder-width apart, shoulders relaxed. Her hands hang loosely at her sides, palms open to the morning light. She inhales slowly, feeling her ribs expand, her spine lift gently. Then she exhales and lets her knees soften. Her body folds slightly forward. The motion feels uncertain, like learning a forgotten language. Her muscles hesitate, unsure of what to do next. But her breath steadies her, guiding her downward just enough. Her fingertips hover above her knees, her back curves softly. She doesn't force anything, just listens to the rhythm of her breath. For a moment, she feels a pull, not pain, but awareness. A reminder that her body is still there, still alive, still learning. When she rises again, she feels warmth spreading through her back. It's small, subtle, but undeniably real. She repeats the movement, slower this time, more mindful. Each bend feels like a conversation, her body responding in whispers. The tension she's carried for years begins to loosen its grip. It's as if her spine is sighing, grateful to be noticed again. She thinks of all the years she ignored this quiet ache. All the mornings she brushed it aside, calling it just age. But maybe it wasn't age. Maybe it was her body asking to move, to breathe, to bend. She bends again, finding a rhythm between strength and softness. Her knees bend first, protecting her back. Her torso follows, moving like water down a gentle slope. Her breath flows in sync with each motion, slow and even. She feels her lower back lengthen, her hamstrings stretch just enough. It's not about reaching her toes anymore. It's about reaching peace in motion. When she rises this time, her balance feels steadier. Her shoulders are relaxed, her chest open, her breath full. She stands still for a long moment, eyes closed. The silence around her hums like quiet applause. She realizes that movement isn't something to fear. It's a language of kindness, spoken through small gestures. Each bend is a word, each breath a sentence of healing. She smiles to herself, touched by the simplicity of it all. Her cat meows softly, as if approving of her progress. She laughs, the sound light and easy. For the first time, she doesn't feel like an older woman trying to be young. She feels like herself again, grounded, strong, and awake. The morning light grows brighter through the window. Eleanor takes one last deep breath and whispers, "This is how I begin, one bend, one breath, one moment at a time." That afternoon, Eleanor decides to learn the movement properly. She opens her small notebook, the one she uses for garden plans. On a fresh page, she writes in neat letters, "Knee to toe bends." It feels almost ceremonial, like beginning a new chapter. She recalls the voice from the radio, giving clear, patient guidance. Stand tall, feel your feet grounded beneath you, breathe deeply. She places her notebook aside and follows the instructions slowly. Her bare feet press gently into the floor, steady and sure. She rolls her shoulders back, opens her chest and exhales. The room is quiet, except for the sound of her breathing. She bends her knees softly, allowing her upper body to follow. It feels different this time, smoother, more connected. She stops halfway down, keeping her spine long and her breath calm. Her fingertips hover above her shins, trembling slightly. "Don't push," she whispers, remembering the advice. "It's not about how far you go, but how kind you move." She inhales, feeling her belly expand. Her ribs widen slightly. Then slowly she begins to rise, one vertebra at a time. Her body feels like it's waking from a long, gentle sleep. She repeats the movement again, slower, deeper. Her knees bend in rhythm with her breath, soft and deliberate. She can feel the stretch travel through her legs and spine. A warmth spreads across her lower back, not pain but life. Her mind quiets, her thoughts drift into the motion. The bend becomes a kind of meditation, a moving silence. With each repetition, she feels lighter, taller, more aware. She begins to understand why the exercise matters. It's not a stretch for youth, but a return to natural grace. Her body, once stiff and hesitant, starts to trust itself again. She laughs softly, realizing how simple movement can heal. Even the smallest motion carries strength when done with care. After a few minutes, she pauses to rest her hands on her thighs. Her heart beats gently, steady and calm. She stands still, sensing the energy flowing from her toes upward. The stiffness she woke with this morning feels softer now. It's as if her body is saying thank you in a language of warmth. She looks at the clock. 10 minutes have passed without her noticing. Time has stretched the same way her body has. She writes a note in her book, slow, kind, steady, 5 to 10 bends. Then she adds another line, listen to my breath. She smiles at the words, knowing they hold more than instruction. They hold a promise to move gently, to trust the process. Outside, the light shifts, golden and calm. She feels taller somehow, as though her spine remembers being free. Her reflection in the window shows a quiet strength she had forgotten. She touches her back lightly, feeling warmth beneath her fingertips. It's the warmth of effort, of care, of new beginnings. For the first time in years, Eleanor feels at home in her own body. And that, she thinks, is the truest kind of strength. Days pass, and Eleanor begins to notice small changes. The stiffness in her lower back fades little by little each morning. Her steps feel steadier, her balance stronger, her breath easier. It's not a miracle, just quiet progress that builds in silence. Every morning, she gives herself 10 minutes for her bends. The ritual becomes as natural as making her cup of tea. She starts to understand the science behind what she feels. The bends aren't just stretches, they're signals to her muscles. Each gentle motion tells her spine to stay awake and flexible. It teaches her body how to move with awareness, not fear. When she bends her knees first, she takes pressure off her back. When she rises slowly, she strengthens the muscles along her core. The movement is small, but the message is powerful. It reminds her that her body still listens, still learns, still adapts. She reads a little about it one afternoon. Her notebook fills with notes about circulation, balance, and muscle tone. She learns that slow bending improves blood flow to the spine, that it keeps the joints nourished and the nerves communicating clearly. It feels like discovering a secret her younger self never knew. All those years, she pushed harder thinking effort meant success. Now she realizes that gentleness carries more power than force. Each bend is like oil to her joints, like sunlight to her posture. It eases her, lengthens her, strengthens her in quiet ways. She moves better when she gardens now. She can reach the low pots without wincing, without hesitation. Her back holds her upright, not tight but supportive. She feels light, not fragile but grounded and sure. Sometimes she catches herself smiling mid-movement. There's joy in discovering what her body can still do. She no longer measures progress by how far she bends. She measures it by how calm her breath feels when she moves. The rhythm between her knees and toes feels like a quiet song. It's a melody of care, of strength built gently over time. Her doctor notices the difference during her next checkup. "You're moving well, Eleanor," he says, smiling. She nods, proud and humble at once. It's the small things, she replies softly. Just small things done daily. He laughs, agreeing. That's the secret to longevity. As she walks home, she thinks about that phrase. Small things done daily. It feels like the story of her life. The garden, the tea, the bends, the breath, all small, all steady. She realizes that the science of safe movement is really about respect. Respect for time, for rhythm, for the quiet language of the body. It's not about fighting age, but learning to move with it gracefully. That night, she writes one final line in her notebook. Strength is not in the force of movement, but in the softness of care. She closes the book, her back straight, her spirit calm. The body she once doubted now feels like an old friend again. And in that friendship, she finds her balance inside and out. 3 weeks pass, and Eleanor's mornings look different now. She wakes before sunrise, not out of habit but out of eagerness. The air feels crisp, cool against her skin, filled with quiet promise. Her back no longer complains when she rises from bed. Instead, it feels steady, ready, alive with a new kind of strength. She moves to the living room, her small sanctuary of calm. The floor welcomes her bare feet like an old friend. She breathes in deeply, shoulders dropping, spine tall and free. Milo curls near the window, watching as she begins her gentle ritual. Her knees bend softly, her breath flows like a quiet tide. The motion feels natural now, graceful and balanced. No strain, no hesitation, just pure awareness. Her fingertips brush past her knees, her back lengthens with ease. She feels warmth radiate through her lower spine, smooth and steady. It's as though her body is thanking her for coming back to it. She rises slowly, vertebra by vertebra, head following last. Her mind feels as light as her movement. Each repetition builds not just muscle, but trust. Trust in her body, in her patience, in the time she's given herself. Outside, the garden glows faintly in the dawn. She can almost hear the soil breathing beneath the dew. It reminds her of her own rhythm, slow, patient, and growing. Later that day, she kneels beside her garden beds once again. Her hands move through the soil, steady and strong. For the first time in years, she works without the dull ache of tension. The fear that once lived in her back has quietly disappeared. She bends to pull a weed and realizes she didn't think twice about it. That simple act feels like a victory, silent but profound. She straightens, wipes her hands, and lets the sunlight rest on her face. Her body feels open, grounded, and alive. A neighbor waves from across the fence, smiling. "You're out early, Eleanor, feeling good." She laughs, a sound filled with warmth and pride. "Better than I have in years," she replies. That evening, she writes in her notebook again. She records how her movements have changed, how her spirit follows. "The body learns through kindness," she writes. "It listens when we stop rushing and start breathing." She reads the line twice, feeling its truth settle deep inside. Every bend has taught her something about patience. Every rise has reminded her of strength she thought she'd lost. Her back is stronger now, her flexibility gently restored. But more than that, she's learned to trust the slow unfolding of progress. No pain, no pushing, only presence. The kind that softens years of stiffness and quiet doubt. She closes her notebook and sets it by the window. Outside, the night hums softly, full of peace. Eleanor stands tall, her silhouette calm against the fading light. She whispers to herself, "It wasn't youth I needed, it was care." And as she walks to bed, her steps are light, certain, and free. The rain falls softly outside, tapping against the window pane. Eleanor sits by the light of a single lamp, her notebook open once more. She turns the pages, each filled with notes, thoughts, and quiet progress. There are no grand achievements written here, only steady change. small moments that built upon each other like gentle waves. She reads her own handwriting and smiles at the journey. Every word feels like a reflection of how far she has come, not just in strength but in peace, in patience, in presence. Her movements now carry a rhythm that feels almost musical. Each bend begins with breath, ends with gratitude. When she lowers herself toward her toes, her mind quiets completely. Her worries dissolve, replaced by a calm that fills her from within. She realizes the motion is no longer just about her body. It becomes a conversation between her spirit and her breath. She inhales strength, exhales tension. She bends not to stretch, but to surrender gently, fearlessly. Her knees guide the motion. Her spine follows like flowing water. Each time she rises, she feels grounded, lighter, clearer. There's a peace in knowing she doesn't need to rush. Life after 60, she thinks, isn't about slowing down, it's about softening. She stands before the window, watching the raindrops trace slow paths. The rhythm outside matches the rhythm inside her chest. She bends once more, this time with eyes closed. Her balance feels effortless, her breath steady and full. It's not perfection, but harmony, the kind that can only come from patience and trust. She remembers how afraid she was at first, afraid of pain, of limitation. Now she understands that movement, when done with care, is liberation. Every gentle motion frees her from the fear of fragility. Every repetition tells her that her body is still strong, still capable. She thinks about others like her, friends, neighbors, people her age. How many of them still believe that growing older means growing smaller? She wishes they could feel what she feels now, this quiet renewal. The rain slows, and the air turns cool and clean. She opens the window slightly, letting the scent of earth drift in. It mixes with her steady breathing, grounding her even more deeply. She thinks of her garden, waiting patiently for the morning sun. How it bends and grows through every season without complaint. She realizes she is no different. Her body, too, is learning to bend and bloom again. The lesson has been simple all along. Movement is life, and life is movement. When we stop fearing the bend, we begin to trust the rise. She closes her notebook, running her hand across its worn cover. The journey doesn't end here. It continues with every quiet breath. She whispers softly, "Thank you, body. Thank you for staying with me." Then she turns off the lamp, letting the darkness settle gently around her. In the quiet hum of the rain, Eleanor feels strong, soft, and beautifully alive. Her story, like her movement, flows on slow, steady, and full of grace. Morning comes again, gentle and golden through the window. Eleanor stands tall, her breath calm, her spirit light. The world outside feels softer, slower, kinder somehow. She begins her bends, knees easing, spine flowing like water. Her body remembers now, not through effort but through trust. Each movement feels like a quiet thank you to herself. The stiffness that once ruled her mornings is only a memory. In its place grows balance, strength, and quiet confidence. She smiles as she finishes, palms resting gently on her thighs. It's not just her back that feels stronger, it's her heart too. The air around her hums with a calm she's earned through patience. She looks toward the garden, where the flowers wait in stillness. There's a shared understanding between her and the earth. Both bend, both rise, both continue to grow. She whispers softly, "I'm not done yet, I'm only beginning." Then she lifts her face to the light, breathing in the new day. Her story, her strength, her movement, all one graceful rhythm. In every bend, she has found not loss but renewal. And in every rise, she has found her way back to herself.